you're a high value man, this forbidden advice will revolutionize your dating game. There's 3 things you can do, starting with a mindset shift that will change everything. I thought being a high value man meant having money, so when I hit 10K per month, I thought girls were gonna be all over me. I walked into the club with supreme confidence, almost arrogance, and it actually ironically had a negative effect because I thought girls were just gonna be all over me. And it wasn't until I reverted back to my style of getting girls, being charismatic, talking about them, focusing the conversation on them, not talking about myself or my accomplishments, that I started getting girls again like I did when I had less than $1,000 in my account. So being a high value man has many aspects that go into it. Money is just one of the factors. The only thing money really did for me was give me access to get with hotter girls, going to better places. Besides that, there were so many other factors that I had to develop in order to become a high value man, including learning relationship dynamics and how to manipulate them in your favor. Imagine you have a friend who you think is higher status than you, and as you develop a friendship with him, he's quickly wanting to hang out all the time. He'll drop any responsibility to come hang out with you. He's constantly doing favors for you, and if anything in your friendship goes wrong, he'll apologize and beg for it to work out. Now, what would you think of this friendship over time? Would you still see your friend as a high status guy? Or would you start to take advantage of the relationship and even take it for granted and not really care? See, this is exactly what a lot of guys do as soon as they get a girl. They might be high status in society's eyes. They may have money, but they lack so many key things when it comes to relationship dynamics and understanding female psychology and just human dynamics as a whole, that when they do get a girl, they end up losing any status that they've worked so hard for and built up in their eyes, and they completely just throw it all out the window. And what you need to understand is that your power in a relationship comes from your ability to walk away. Women do not want to risk losing a high value man, and they will be tolerant of behavior that they otherwise wouldn't be with a lower value guy. And this is just facts. This is human nature at its most basics. And when you want to be a high value man, you need to understand this and you need to play into it. So you want to be more elusive, more mysterious. You don't want to be at her beck and call, dropping responsibilities for her, doing her constant favors, pedestalizing her like she is better than you, because that's going to change this power dynamic. And what you need to understand is that women always want to date up. So if you're putting her on the pedestal, making her the higher status individual just because of her beauty, you just lost this relationship. Trust me, I've made this mistake myself, and it's an absolute nightmare, and things are gonna go bad for you. So I'm praying that you don't make this mistake, because it is painful. And after learning this, everything changed for me. This was one of the key things that I did that really changed dating dynamics, and it really set me up for success. Now, once you're ready to walk away from the relationship, it's really important you understand this. Imagine you met a leader of a small army, and he's commanding his troops, and he's this big, powerful guy. And then once you actually befriend him and get closer to him, he's kind of a bitch. He's very insecure. He doesn't believe in his mission. He has constant doubts about his ability to succeed in his battles. How would you feel about him after getting to know him closer? Would you still see him as this big, powerful, scary leader that's going to conquer the world? Or would you start feeling like him as kind of just a little bitch who is putting on a mask and a front and start to lose respect for him? So it's probably going to be the second one, right? And this is exactly what happens in a lot of relationships is guys break frame and they start portraying this weakness and all their doubts and insecurities onto the girl that they're with, thinking that they're like their best friend, like they're a friend that they can, work through certain problems with, when this is completely wrong. And doing this is going to break the frame in a relationship, and a girl's going to really quickly start to lose respect for you. You need to be that rock in the relationship that she can lean on. And if you're constantly bringing in your insecurities, your doubts, your negativity, and your lack of self-belief in whatever it is you're doing, she's going to lose that image of you in her mind, and she's going to lose respect for you, and she's not going to see you as this high status man, and it's just going to really bring down your value and her respect for you as a whole, and ruin a lot of that you worked so hard for to build up to become the high status man that she wanted in the first place. You're going to be bringing that down. Once again, I've done this myself, and this is so key that you hold frame within the relationship. The only people you should be telling your problems to, your doubts, your insecurities, are your closest boys that you trust, that you've been friends with for a long time. These are the guys you go to talk about your problems and get solutions. Your girl is not going to be able to help you conquer the world. This is not what she is there for. It's a completely different relationship, and a lot of people fail to realize this, and this is a huge cause for girls losing respect for you and being seen as lower status in her eyes. Once you've created proper frame within the relationship, here's a trick that's gonna allow you to get her hooked to you and start chasing you more. So, every time I've had a short-term relationship where I've been seeing a girl and then I kind of started to get the ick and didn't want to hang out with her anymore, but didn't want to completely cut her off or just ignore her, and just kept her around but started responding slower and less and saying less and just being more vague, ironically, they always want to chase me more. It's happened time and time again. I remember this happened one time this summer so vividly. I went on a date with this girl after talking for a bit. We spent a night in a hotel together, and that night was just an absolute disaster. I never wanted to hang out with her again, but I was still just being nice in case I saw her out or wanted a backup or something. And then that whole time, she kept pushing in so much, trying to chase me. She was inviting me to a festival, a Halloween party. She kept asking, even though I would be vague and be like, maybe, I don't know if I can, I'm busy. And she kept chasing and chasing and chasing me. And this is something that you need to learn, which is presence and absence. It's, leaving on highs and lows, creating an emotional roller coaster overall. That is the key here. That's going to allow you to really increase your perceived value. It's the complete opposite of the point where we were talking about the friend who is perceived as high value, but he is always there for you, drops responsibilities, is, doing favors for you, apologizes if anything goes wrong. This is the complete opposite, and this is going to really drive up your perceived value in a relationship, making it seem like you're busy. This is how you make her perceive you as elusive, mysterious, and make her want you as an object of desire even more. She's going to start chasing you, but you need to have the emotional connection set in place first. If you do this, after just sleeping with a girl once and you ignore her for a bunch of days, she's gonna think you don't like her. So this is really important that you have the connection built. You don't have to have tons and tons of it doesn't have to be months or anything like that. This can happen pretty quickly within a few dates or a few hangouts. And once you start to get to know her, you can use presence and absence to make her mind start to wander. Her imagination is gonna give her more pleasure than you ever will. So you being present in her life constantly is gonna be less enjoyable for her than if you were to bring in some absence and let her imagination run wild. And you strategically, really do a lot of things, like you can talk to her a little bit and then you maybe post like a story somewhere and she sees it and now she's curious. And there's a lot of different ways you can go with this. I'll leave that up to you to figure out. But really understanding that you want to take a girl on an emotional roller coaster, use presence and absence, leave at high points during dates, set in some lows as well. This is really what's going to make her super attached to you. And this is a super important key in terms of making yourself perceived as high value. It might be a little toxic, but we playboys out here. So some of us are playboys, and this is a cool trick though. It's something that is really leveraging human psychology to your favor in a massive way. So if you want a date to win, this is definitely something that you can apply. Even just doing it a little bit, it's gonna add some spice to the relationship. The worst thing that you can be is boring. If you're boring a girl, she's not gonna stick around. It's happened to me. And when you get too comfortable with a girl, that's where that kind of starts to set in. A quick example is with my relationship when I was 19, my ex and I spent so much time together. It would be like weeks at a time, and I was living with my family and she would just live with me and we just hang out all day in my room, watching TV, smoking weed. There was no mystery, no excitement. And the few times that we did spend apart during that 3-month relationship for like a couple days, we started to miss each other so much. There was excitement. There was kind of curiosity. I felt those same things I was describing to you. I was on this emotional roller coaster when she would post a story. She was a little bit of a hoe, but she would post a story doing something. And I'm like, oh, I'm starting to be like, what the fuck? And my imagination starts going. It's human nature. It's going to work obviously the same way for you as it is for a girl. Obviously slight variations in terms of, female and male, but it's very important that you have these presence absence, you create this emotional roller coaster, because you don't want to be boring. You don't want to lose girls due to the fact that you don't know how to continuously be a high value man throughout the relationship. And here's 3 things that you need to do. So if you got any value out of this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button on this channel. I'm teaching you how to get your dream girls. And if you want to work with me, I'm gonna give you a free 30-minute coaching call where we're gonna dive into your exact dating life and give you tangible steps in order to improve it. So if that sounds of interest, go ahead and book that down below, completely free. And once we do fill up all the coaching slots, which is 3 for the month, then those free coaching calls stop as well. So make sure to book that while you can. See you guys on there. Have a great day, everyone.